pilots, welcome back to Mickey BRC. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the second video of a series of, God knows how many videos I'll be doing of this, of the Roban Bell 222 800 size. It's a big model. I think they call it the super scale in this, and that sort of range. Anyway, so last time the unboxing, this time I've been thinking about different components which I want to use, the electronics specifically, and converged on a few items which I'm liking the look of from the reviews, from what other people have done in forums and that, which I've been reading through. So we're going to go through for a Eco Drift motor, 520 kV 12S. To accompany that, we'll obviously need an ESC. So I quite like the Castle Creations 160 amp ESC, and then accompanying that will be a Castle Creations BEC. In terms of servos, still need to do a bit of research on that in terms of what's good for the actual collective servos and the tail servos. A little bit different, especially with the different sort of timings and speeds and stuff like that. So I've got to research that a bit more, but I'm thinking, looking at what Motion RC recommend for the similar model, probably some MKS servos, but yeah, just need to research a little bit more in terms of the speed and stuff for them. So with that in mind, we'll kick off and start putting this thing together. All right, so one of the things I have done on the mechanics this week is remove all the bolts that hold these carbon plates and just re-Loctite them and mark them with a paint marker so I know which ones are done. I have left some off, specifically like this, because this is an adjustable one for the servos. But yeah, really good thing to do when you're getting into these, and probably with a lot of other models as well, but especially like the helicopters, the mechanics of it. The last thing you want is anything winding out or getting loose. That could cause issues, but also once this thing is inside the model, it's very hard to service without taking the whole thing out. So best to get it done now. I've already gone, I'm about to go through the swash plate and all the head, making sure all these bolts are Loctite as well. But something that's, you know, easy to do. It's a bit monotonous, but needs to be done. Okay, so in the manual, first thing it goes through is installing the lights. Now, there is a light kit included. These lights are okay. They're not going to be super bright compared to things like Unilight or any of those 3 watt LEDs you can get for kits now, like the GT Power or some of the stuff that comes on like a lot of foamies, which we're used to. But you know, this should be fine for our purposes. They give you a whole bunch of lenses as well, and you can see here for the sponson, there's like a shaped lens there. So red one there. Yeah, so we'll just go through this, add in the lights, and I think the next part after that is the landing gear. So what I've done so far is I've just painted the landing gear, and a bit of a unique sort of trailing link suspension here, where it's just a spring wrapped around like a bolt. Unique. A bit different from what we're used to in jets, with, you know, like a piston kind of thing, but these aren't for going along at a runway to take off or slow down. It's basically just to absorb the weight of the helicopter. I suppose you could drive around a little bit, but yeah, not really the whole point. So 3 of those, they're all painted, because I think I'm going to repaint the whole thing. I really like the Westpac Rescue helicopter scheme that I've kind of been looking at, and a very nice person on the Roban forum or Facebook page gave me some close-up images of all the decals on it. So I think I may have to send an email to Kelly or something to get that done. But anyway, we'll get on to this. So yep, we'll start putting in the lights. Okay, so just put the lights on just a test, and you know, they're not too bad. They're somewhat bright. I mean, the camera, it's really hard to get the intensity on the camera. Let's just turn the lights down. Alrighty, so we've got our port and starboard navigation lights. Looks like a tail strobe, and then we got a recognition and a strobe for the tail as well. These will go on the boom. So yeah, not too bad for an included kit. Is it worth changing them out for something like these? I got a whole bunch of these from previous models and other lighting things I've done in the past, but I don't know. I mean, I think they're fine the way it is. Yeah, so cool, we'll carry on and continue installing these. Okay, so for the most part, I've got the LEDs in. So we've got our nav lights on top of the doghouse, the recognition light, yeah. Under here, get our strobe for the tail, and we've got one here which is just loosely on the vertical stab. And then obviously down here we've got our port side nav light. Now the kit also has, if we look into here, so the lights, they go into the instrument cluster. So this all links up into this kit. They've given you some of these extension wires. I had to use one of the extension wires to go through to this tail strobe. And this one here just makes it with what we've got. A little tricky getting these through because you've got to bring them through the well for the wheels, in through the sponson, and there's a little gap here. It's really dark to see in there, so you have to bring the wires through out there. I can see why you have to do this before you do the landing gear, because it's pretty fiddly trying to get them through. But anyway, press on. One thing I will recommend, so the kit comes with these bezels for the lights. So there's like a base plate, and then there is like a lens bezel cap. Ooh, get that in. So these bezels, you'll see on the doghouse already installed, and on the tail boom it's already installed, but on this vertical stabilizer it's not installed. So there's like a piece that comes down which is on the inside of that hole. It sort of continues on down like a step. So that's got to fit into here. So you're going to have to do some grinding out to open up that hole. So this little end piece can fit in there properly. Once that's secure, then I'm just going to use some PVA glue because it'll be strong enough. We're not flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour, so it should be fine. And it won't cloud the lens caps, with the likes of CA or even like plastic model glue would do. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out. So this cap has to go in there. We have to open up this hole. Same thing with the sponsons, the lights getting in there. I had to open up the hole. You just see the light there. So I have to open up that hole just a little bit, just enough for that cap to fit in. So yeah, carry on. Okay, I managed to get the base plate in for the light. So you can see there it's flush with it. So I had to grind out quite a bit of material to do that. So now we're just going to be putting on the bezel for the light. So I'm just going to carefully because this PVA dries clear, it should be fine for this. And that's it. I'll let that dry. Got a bit of tape in there to hold it there, and just put that aside and continue on. So I'll do the same thing with all the other ones. So there's one for the doghouse and this one for the tail boom. So these red bezels. So I'll do the same for those. I should also mention that the LED itself, I've put a bit of glue around the wiring and just put up against the inside of the hole because they don't clip into anything, so they're just hanging there. So to stop them from ever backing out, I just put a bit of glue around the wire, and there was enough to just hold it there. So the lights for the exterior are all done. All the bezels are on it. I've just temporarily put on the vertical stab. Look, for something that comes with a kit, it's not too bad actually. I thought, I don't want to change the lights, something brighter, but I think for the scale appearance, it's looking pretty good. So, onto the wheels. All right, after quite a number of times of pulling the things in and out, finally got the landing gear installed. We'll just we'll cycle them. So that all seems to work, but what a unique way to set it up. So, for the nose wheel, and I'm going to pray that I can get some light in there, we go. So you can see here, there's the retract, and it goes through like a linkage to the actual main gear, the landing gear itself. It kind of begs the question of why couldn't they just set it up so you would be inserting the landing gear into the trunnions directly. But, you know, it works. It's just very fiddly to work around. And it's the same sort of deal with this. You got a whole bunch of bushings and spaces which you need to connect right up in here on both sides. It's very fiddly. And in terms of, to the light off, the mechanism itself, so you got the two retracts, one for each side, and again it's a linkage that goes through, and then you got pins that go through the sponson all the way out to the landing gear. What a mission it is to get this right. So you've got not only the length of the push rods to think about and get them set up correctly, but also the, how do I explain this? The depth of the push rod itself. So if I zoom into this section here, so that piece right at center screen, where that ball link is, so that slides up and down. So that gives you another point of adjustment. So you've got to not only adjust the length of the push rod, but you also got to adjust the height of that ball link, because that slides up and down that shaft. You got to sort of negotiate all three ball joints and then the other section to get it right so it doesn't get hung up on it. I was wondering why the landing gear was like really loose in some points, and it was because it was getting hung up, and the way the retracts are, when they encounter so much resistance, that is shut down, and then it was causing the landing gear to be swinging like really heaps. So after like I said many times of pulling it in and out, finally got it in, and yeah, I think it works quite well now. Well, pilots, that's all we have time for today. Be sure to tune in next time when we continue the assembly and build of the Roban 800 size Bell 222. Until then, hope you're all well, hope you're staying safe, and we will see you at the field. Well, pilots, that's all we have time for today. Be sure to tune in next time when we continue the assembly and